Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, May's Crochet. I am Rachel and today we are going to talk about my 2024 year-long project, my book blanket. I saw somebody else on TikTok, it was Mama Cusses. She got the idea from someone else and I don't know who that was, so I'm sorry to whoever the originator of this idea was. What I'm doing is I am making a granny square for every book that I read this year, and it is going to emulate the cover as close as I can. Originally I was just like kind of color matching and doing like 5 rows with some of the main colors of the book cover, but now it's gotten a little intense and I'm trying to actually match the colors on the book cover to where they are. It's a lot of work. I didn't expect it to be this much. I got that hit of dopamine as soon as I saw it mid-January. I'm like, yes, let's do this. It'll get me reading more. It'll give me something big to focus on. Sometimes I love that. Sometimes I love the idea of that. Let me put it that way. And now I'm in the trenches and I'm like, oh, why did I do this? But I'm already halfway there, so why quit? So today I'm on square number 50 out of 100. I am halfway there, with 100 being my goal. Last year in 2023, I only got through 10 books. So this is quite a jump for me. All of my books, I will let you know, are audiobooks because a multitude of reasons. First and foremost, I do have trouble concentrating on reading actual physical books or ebooks these days. Ever since COVID, I've had a real problem with my focus. I DNF'd a 6-book series halfway through book number 5 during COVID. I wasn't not enjoying it, I just could not concentrate on it anymore. And I haven't gotten back to that series. I would have to start at the beginning at this point. Also, during that time, I was teaching my youngest, who was in 1st grade when everything shut down. I was teaching her how to read because she was already very behind when kindergarten ended and got into the 1st grade year. And about halfway through the year, a little more, we finally got her into interventional reading. She had been in the program about a month and then everything shut down. And so I did not want her starting 2nd grade too far behind. And we took that summer to really buckle down on the reading. It was hard. It was really hard. There were a lot of tears between the two of us, but we got her there. But ever since helping her, it has taken its toll on me as well. So I started doing audiobooks in 2022 when my mom actually gently requested as Christmas present for like the next 6 years for me to make her a doll of the 6 of Crows characters. As you can see, it had an effect on me. She's not being nasty about it. It was a very gentle way of saying, if you need ideas for me for Christmas, because like I've said, I make all my gifts for Christmas because I do not like shopping for people anymore. So that got me more into audiobooks and realizing that, hey, I can do this while I clean, while I crochet, while I do drive, while I do a multitude of other things. But I still wasn't reading a lot. And I do consider it reading. So if you've got opinions against that, I don't want to hear them. I really don't. But I decided to take this on because I got on the book talk side of TikTok and was really listening to a bunch of what sounded like great books and recommendations and everything. And so I started getting into that and I was like, well, if I really want to take reading more seriously, I need to buckle down. And then this was a great project, a great idea to get me there. I am not particular exactly. I am not just reading like what's popular according to TikTok right now. I've really gotten back into the classics because I have a really large hole in my education. And also I just think it's nicer when you don't have to read these things for an assignment and your brain's fully developed, which I kind of hope mine is after 43 years. So I try to cover classics. I'm doing a few super popular books that are out right now. Very few of them I've liked, honestly. Like, I feel like some of them are really overhyped. I don't know who's getting paid to push some of these things, but they have not been for me. But it's been an adventure. Earlier this week, I actually DNF'd my 2nd book. It was Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut, and that was only because I could tell I was not in the headspace for that at the time. I knew that I was not going to enjoy the book if I kept going because mentally I needed something lighter, and I could very quickly, within the 1st chapter, tell that I was not going to be able to concentrate on it in a way that it seems like it deserved more. Hopefully I'll get back to it. So it was nothing against that. I could just tell that it was me. I was the problem. So I switched that out for Stardust by Neil Gaiman. It was my first Neil Gaiman book. I love the movie from 2007, and the book was okay. The book is very anticlimactic in the end. I feel like everything just sort of fizzles out. Like, and the movie it was, you know, a big Hollywood movie with stacked cast. It needed the big adventure, climactic battle of the witch and the evil brother and the star and the boy. It needed all of that. That's a me problem. However, I do have to make the square, and that'll be book 50. So I guess I should talk about the blanket more. I am doing a 10 by 12. I had to think about that one. Doing 10 by 12. Rows 2 through 11 will be the books, and then I decided to do a top. I didn't want a full square, so I'm doing a top row that says, it's just blank. It says books, red, and then the bottom 12th row will say in 2024. And I'll do that later because I'm going 10 squares at a time. I'm attaching 10 squares, a row at a time. I'm attaching a row at a time is what I'm trying to say. So let us stand up and check it out. All right, here we go. So what we got so far. Oh my God, this thing's gonna be so big. So we start up here with the Court of Mist and Fury. I don't care for the ACOTAR series. I'm sorry. I don't like it. It took me 2 times to get through A Court of Thorn and Roses. And everybody's like, oh, you got to get through that one, and then this next one gets really better. And it didn't for me. And they just seem to get longer, and I just don't like them. When I started the blanket, like I said, I was really just going to do more colors, color palette, though that's a pretty simple cover. So that's what I got so far. As you can see, things got more complicated, and I'm trying to go by the actual cover color placements. I am limited because they are granny squares, they are clusters. There's only so much I can do, but I can at least tell you which book is which. So this is what we're going for today. And I really love minimalism for the most part, especially in this project with book covers. It makes my life so much easier. And that's a really great thing about some of the older books, the classics, or even this one, even Stardust had a significant amount of options as to what kind of cover I wanted. Newer books, when they've only had like one release, one print, I guess, you have that and that's it, and you hope that you can pull it off, or I hope I can pull it off. So yeah, there has been judging some books by their covers this year, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm okay with that. This color palette, I'm going to be using obviously dark blue. I got a teeny tiny bit of light blue right here. Hold this closer. We've got yellow for, I guess that's the sun or moon. You know what? Moon? Not 100% sure. And then a little bit of brown for this section right here. There's this linen color, which is the main background, and then it's completely encompassed in a white. And then I'm using this very thin 1/weight yarn for the black for his name up here in the title. I do try to incorporate like an accent color for those. Sometimes if the title and the author's name are big enough, then I will use the actual full granny square in that color, because it does make a difference. And sometimes I've done it and that was a mistake. Of Mice and Men is an example. But in this case, I think I'm just going to use the accent color. And then I've got 2 other smaller accent colors to go. There's a little bit of yellow and the blue, and then it's kind of more of a brownish gray, but I only had this gray. This is just crochet thread. I have a big multi-pack of it for this project alone. So since there are so many ends to weave in, I'm also doing a full square that goes in the back that is a solid color that matches the front. So in order to hide all those ends and so they don't come out or undone or anything. So I'm going to make that square first, and it does help me figure out where the other colors on the front square will go. So first 5 rows of this. I am very apprehensive about actually crocheting on camera, because since I am self-taught from YouTube videos. I feel like there's so many people that be like, oh, you're doing it wrong. That's not how you hold the yarn. That's not how you hold the hook. But this is how I've been doing it for 5 years, and this is how I'm going to continue to do it, just so you know. Here's our basic back square that I am now going to try to figure out how I'm going to lay the rest of the colors for the front square out on, because it's easier for me to look. Since granny squares start in the middle and work their way out in a spiral, it is very difficult to eyeball it and be like, okay, well, this color goes here and this, and then you try to match that. It's rough. I guess I'll start in the middle. I can definitely tell that the outer 5th row is going to be all white, just like this back row. And then the inner one, 4, will definitely be this more linen color. It is such a slight difference, but it is a difference. So I will cut that up first because that's going to be the easiest. So I'll be using the black thin 1 weight for the author's name, Neil Gaiman, obviously, and then the title down at the bottom. Yeah, it's gonna look like a rhombus, but we're also just gonna go with it. That's what we're gonna do. And the blues, it's definitely a time where the rectangle to square ratio is thrown out of whack for sure. And yeah, you can probably guess that weaving in the ends is an absolute nightmare, because it is. It is awful. All right, do one more there, I think. All right. I think that looks good. Turn these around. Oop, nope, too high, too high. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with it. All right, I'm gonna get started. Okay, so I finished the square, and as you can see, there are ends, lots and lots of ends to weave in. Not the worst though. This really wasn't too terrible. It does take a while with all the color changes, but this is nothing compared to some I've done. But here it is not bad. Not bad at all. Pretty easy. Okay, I am now gonna take a break. I'm gonna eat lunch, walk a dog. Yeah, walk a dog. Probably pick up a kid and eventually get the ends woven in. And then I'll have to attach it to the back side. And then since this is number 50, I've got a whole row to attach to the blanket, and then I'll be done. Perfect dog. We are in fact matching today. They're so cute. Okay, so I am done weaving in ends. Really wasn't too bad this time. I've had some that were absolutely monstrous. So now I'm going to join the two. They're going to be back to back, wrong sides facing. This gray yarn, which is joining the whole blanket together. I had a bunch laying around, so it's time to get rid of it. So I start in the upper corner just with the standing single crochet, and then I single crochet in all of the stitches all the way around. I have decided that I'm going to actually get a book at the airport before we leave next Saturday, and hopefully it'll be a good one. And I will read a physical book on this trip. I don't know what it'll be, whatever the airport has available. That looks good. But I've never done that. I've never gone to the airport and just like looked around one of the stores, the little shops, and thought, ooh, I need to grab a book, because I do have trouble. I already have trouble now concentrating on physically reading books, but I've always had trouble on reading on planes too. I rarely had been able to read very much on a plane. Done. Front and back joined. It is now time to join row number, well, 5 of books, but 6 in total of the blanket. Okay, so I feel like I'm running out of space at my craft table, but I don't feel like going into the dining room right now, so we're just gonna make it work. So I work from right to left. So I start with the last one in the row, which would be Stardust that I just finished. And then I attach it all the way up through. So this would be number 50. I'll attach it all the way up to number 41. I do a slip stitch in the back loop. Oh my God. Oh God, okay. I can do this, right? I'm just gonna have to fold it. Oh, there. hook, gray yarn for attaching. Oh my gosh, this is chaos. Never felt like chaos before, but now that I'm trying to like film it, it feels like chaos. Okay. Don't know if you can really see much. That's okay. I start in the corner chains. When I join the two sides together, I chain one in the corner. And then when I start adding the squares, I do start in the corners of each chain. Now, because I'm doing it row by row, I cannot do the columns until the very end. So at the end of the year. Right now I'm just taking little bits of yarn and tying it in like two places down the columns so that when I pick it up it doesn't kind of sag in weird places. I don't want to join it going up until all the rows are on here. So my third year-long project. I did a temperature blanket in 2020 for 2020. Some people do temperature blankets of different times, different years, not in the year that they're doing it, but I did do one of 2020. I did a join as you go temperature blanket. I thought it was a really great pattern at the time. It was granny squares. It wasn't a row by row of just like one row of crochet and then the next row. It was one day at a time in squares, and I really liked it. It was 3 rows. The very center was the low of the day, the middle was the high of the day, and then I decided that the outer row would be, if it was a special day, birthday, holiday, anniversary of some sort, that it was going to get special colors for that. So like my oldest birthday was purple. It's her favorite color. My younger one's favorite color is pink. So the thing is, the yarn I used was terrible. It was Caron Simply Soft because I had already had it because I tried using, real quick, this is Never Let Me Go. I really like this book cover. It's my favorite out of all the ones I've found. Didn't love the book. Anyway, I used the Caron Simply Soft on that temperature blanket, and I had regrets very quickly after I was finished. I put it on the back of a chair in the living room, and the kids would sit in the chair and rub up against it. Not their fault, they're kids. They live here. They're welcome to sit in any chair they want. It really, because of how slippery it is, it does that shedding thing that I absolutely hate. And so after just a few months, it looked terrible. And then not only that, but because it's a join as you go, you join in all the holes, like at the corners and in the middle, because it's 3 rounds. So you join it like just a few points, and when it's hanging, when it's folded and hanging over something, those squares stretch out into rectangles. So I wasn't proud of it. And then this year, in my infinite wisdom, I decided to remake the entire thing. Real quick, this is 7 Days in June. It is a second chance romance. Overall, I really liked it. I like the characters and I like the love story. But there's a lot of superfluous stuff in the book that I didn't find necessary. So I did decide to remake my temperature blanket earlier this year. I got different yarn, far less shiny and slippery, and I remade it, and I like it so much more. I did the joining like this, so I did it row by row and then column by column. Remaking it, well, at least I didn't have to wait a whole year, but it was still a lot of work over a couple of months, and I ended up putting off a lot of stuff to get it done. And then in 2021, I decided to make a wreath for every month because we just had like cheap little floral, mainly floral wreaths that I had bought mainly at Walmart or Michael's. So I decided to make one of like snowmen, a snowman family, like the 4 of us. And I was like, well, that's cute. I bet I could make one for Valentine's Day. And then it just snowballed from there. So now I have 12 wreaths, and it goes up every month on the first of the month, unless like this year, Easter, which is the one for April, is a few days early, like at the end of March. And then that goes up just a couple of days early. This is When the Reckoning Comes. It was a pretty good book. I thought it was supposed to be more horror driven in like an actual horror movie sense, but it's about a woman who goes back to her small town that used to have a functional plantation on it back in the 1800s, and it has been said to be haunted for years. And that's upside down. She goes back for her friend's wedding on the plantation. And I thought it was going to be a horror novel about the ghosts of the formerly enslaved people coming for revenge, because they say all the everybody in the town are descendants of either the enslaved people who worked at the plantation or the plantation owners. And I thought they were coming for like the descendants of the plantation owners. It was different. It was definitely more of a personal story about the woman and her facing kind of the history of her ancestors, but it was still a good book. I still enjoyed it. Okay, so this was Daisy Jones and the Six. I know it does not look anything like it. It was more about capturing the colors. I'd heard of the Prime show last year, and I was like, oh, well, that sounds interesting because Sam Claflin's in it, and I really like him because Hunger Games, obviously. And then I watched the first episode. I read the book, and then I watched the first episode, and the show was okay. I haven't really felt the need to go back and continue it just yet, but I did really like the book. Thought it was fine up until the very end, and then something at the end kind of changed it for me, and I ended up really liking it more than I thought I would. This will be halfway. Excellent. Not that I don't enjoy this, but this blanket is very warm, and it is kind of warm in my room right now. So I'm a little hot. I have a perfect street view to see who's passing the house. I get a little nosy sometimes. Hot. Will Grayson. This is a YA novel. It was fine. I don't know. People told me I would love it, and because I have liked other John Green books, and it was just okay. I don't know. Didn't hit me as much as some of his other stuff, like The Fault in Our Stars, and I also read Turtles All the Way Down, which is this one right here. This one didn't really move me all of that much. It was fine. And this is where you can hardly tell I did anything. Sorry, let me figure out. Okay, this was Hellbent. Leigh Bardugo. This one wasn't great. This was the first one in the series. Also messy. Anyway, this was Hellbent, and this was Ninth House. It's about a young woman named Alex, who ends up at Yale, where Leigh Bardugo did go to school, and ends up a part of one of their secret societies that deals with the occult and magic, dark magic, and things like that. She's been recruited, even though she's not exactly a prime candidate for such a prestigious institution, because she can see ghosts. That's basically it. She can see ghosts. She's always been able to see ghosts, and it's been a real problem for her. But now she's given after a trauma in her life, she's been given a second chance, but she has to go and be part of the secret society to help keep the dark magic and occult at bay, make sure none of the other houses and secret societies of Yale get out of hand. So the first one I liked a lot, unfortunately, because there's also like a murder mystery element to it, and who's sneaking around and doing what they shouldn't be doing against secret society rules. Unfortunately, the second one hinges so much on caring about a character who disappears in the first one that I just don't feel like she wrote him well enough before he disappears in the book for me to care about him. So for the main character, Alex, to spend all of her time and energy to get him back, it just wasn't for me. It wasn't there. I just didn't care about the guy. So it's really hard when that's what the story focuses on. Okay, 3 more to go. Okay, so this is Ninth House, so that's the first book. I gotta remember which way this thing goes. It all looks the same. Next, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. It was really intriguing, but our main girl, kind of dumb at the end. She went to confront who she suspected to be a murderer on her own without any backup, and then took tea from this person. Are you kidding me with this? Anyway, I'm not going to continue the series, because if she's really that dumb, then yeah, I can't. I'm good up until that point. the very last one for this row, not super in love with it. It was Of Mice and Men. There were a ton of different book covers. I thought this one would be easy and ended up being a complete and total mess. There was another one that I definitely should have gone with instead, but live and learn. This book was fine. It's just one of those classics that it's kind of hard to think of anything to talk about it anymore. Yeah, like not a whole lot to say. Tragic, unfortunately, but that was the point of it, so. Leave a long tail because I don't know how long I'm gonna need it for. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna pull it through, and that's it. I am done, halfway there. Let's take another look. Okay, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you for coming along and checking out my book journey. I'm not going to update this with every single book that I do, every single square. I'll probably do a like 3/4 check-in. This is my halfway point. And then of course I'll do the final at the end of the year. So yeah, have you guys ever done any like year-long projects, and did it take its toll on you mentally and physically like it has on me so far? I won't regret it in the end, but right now I'm a little tired. That's okay. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever, you know, just let me know. And I will see you in the next one.